Hello, we're back on the Real News. We're going to go to the news and your phone calls now. If you'd like to call in, 704-873-1400. Our Davie County number is 336-499-0681, and our website is therealnewsradio.com. I found this interesting. Oklahoma sent a message to the feds, "Don't tread on me." State House defends its sovereignty from D.C. intrusion. It's reported on WorldNet Daily. Steamed over a perceived increase in federal usurping of states' rights, Oklahoma's House of Representatives told Washington, D.C. to back off. Couldn't we all take a note from this? Joint House Resolution 1089 passed by overwhelming 92-3 margin. Reasserts Oklahoma's sovereignty under the 10th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, and according to the resolution's own language, serving notice to the federal government to cease and desist certain mandates. The 10th Amendment states, "The power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, or reserved to the states respectively, or to the people." Traditionally, this language has meant that the federal government is limited in its scope and cannot usurp the sovereign powers of the states. In recent decades, however, as the size and reach of the federal government has expanded, many have gone to question whether Washington has stepped on states' rights and gotten too big for its britches. Charles Key, the Republican state representative who authored the resolution, told WorldNet Daily that he introduced it because he believes the federal government's overstepping its bounds and has put our constitutional form of government in danger. And I agree with him on that. The more we stand by and watch the federal government get involved in areas where it has no legal authority, we kill the Constitution a little at a time, he said. The last few decades, the Constitution has been hanging by a thread. Specifically, Resolution 1089 says the following: "The state of Oklahoma hereby claims sovereignty under the 10th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States over all powers not otherwise enumerated and granted to the federal government by the Constitution of the United States. The resolution resolves that Oklahoma will serve as notice and demand to the federal government as our agent to cease and desist, effective immediately, mandates that are beyond the scope of these constitutionality-delegated powers." It also instructs that a copy of this resolution be distributed to the President of the United States, the President of the United States Senate, the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate of each state's legislature of the United States of America, and each member of the Oklahoma congressional delegation. The resolution does not, as some have speculated, amount to secession, but it does send a warning signal to Washington. Oklahoma does not intend to be bullied by Big Brother government anymore. I want to commend Oklahoma. North Carolina needs to do this. Abolish the Patriot Act. Abolish the Military Commissions Act. Take back our sovereignty as a state. Our federal government has dismantled our constitutional rights. They have condoned warrantless wiretaps, many invasions of our privacy, and made most simple undertakings such as running a small business into a descent into a maze of red tape and bureaucracy. And once again, this story went practically unreported. Today I report Oklahoma struck a blow for freedom. For once in a while, we report some good news. Again, if you'd like to call in, the phone number is 704-873-1400. Our Davie County number is 336-499-0681. We videotape our broadcast, and it is on our YouTube channel, The Real News Radio, if you'd like to check that out. Senator Mike Grable calls for a new investigation of 9/11. Supports a New York City 9/11 ballot initiative. This is June 15, 2008. On Tuesday, June 17th at 5 p.m. at St. Mark's Church in New York City, former Senator Mike Grable, speaking on behalf of New York City 9/11 ballot initiative campaign, will call for a new and far-reaching investigation of the crimes of 9/11. This comes in the wake of several developments which underscore the need for a truly independent, thorough, fact-driven investigation into the events of 9/11. Consider the recent book by New York Times veteran reporter Philip Sheehan, titled The Commission, The Uncensored History of the 9/11 Investigation, which highlighted the conflicts of the interest of Executive Director Philip Zechalow. Considered the book by Tom Keene and Lee Hamilton titled Unprecedented, in which they stated they were doomed to fail from the start and they were lied to by NORAD regarding our absence of air defense. Consider the articles of impeachment by Dennis Kucinich, which lists hard evidence showing dereliction of duty, obstruction of justice, and malfeasance by the Bush administration. Consider the revelation of the destruction in 2004 of CIA tape recordings of suspects in Guantanamo Bay, which were requested by the 9/11 Commission. Consider the Arizona Congresswoman Karen Johnson, who called attention to the research of physics professor Stephen Jones and architect Richard Gage has called for a new 9/11 investigation. This list goes on and on. However, Congress nor any other government body aren't likely to take action, but through the New York City 9/11 ballot initiative, the voters of New York City can create the conditions that would lead to the investigation which as many as 84 million Americans desire. According to CBS New York Times poll, for the purpose of revealing the mountain of information which was never addressed by the government's own investigation, as well as revealing the many shortcomings and contradictions that exist. As many as 10,000 New York City voters have already signed the petition to create this public referendum. Many 9/11 family members and first responders also support this campaign. Furthermore, former naval officer and NSA analyst turned syndicated investigative reporter Wayne Madsen has recently voiced his support, stating many current and retired intelligence professors, as well as members of foreign intelligence agencies, would testify what they know about 9/11 in a venue provided by this new investigation. We have reported that a lot of people, myself being one, are not at all happy with the government's version of the events of 9/11. Here in New York, right now, they are starting a ballot initiative campaign for a new investigation. This is the real news, and I intend to follow this story in the future. If you'd like to call in and comment on that, 704-873-1400. Our David County number is 336-499-0681. This was reported by Reuters News Agency this week. Russian Air Force planes dropped a 55-pound sack of concrete into a suburban Moscow home last week while seeding clouds to prevent rain from spoiling a holiday. Russian media said on Tuesday, a pack of cement used in creating good weather in the capital region failed to pulverize completely at high altitude and fell into the roof of a house, making a hole about 3 foot round. Police in Novorossiysk told the news agency Reuters. Ahead of major public holidays, the Russian Air Force often dispatches up to 12 cargo planes carrying loads of silver iodide, liquid nitrogen, and cement powder to seed clouds above Moscow and empty the skies of moisture. A spokesman for the Russian Air Force refused to comment. June 12th was the Russian Day, a patriotic holiday celebrating the country's independent breakup of the Soviet Union. Now, this is Reuters News Agency service reporting that the Russian Air Force, 12 planes, they say, preventing rain, essentially, dare I say it, controlling the weather. And as you heard, they often do this. I'm not saying this is unheard of course. We have heard this stuff before, but now they're apparently admitting that it works and that they practice it often. I had heard of seeding clouds to cause rain, but they are preventing rain. And like I said, they do this very routinely. I thought everyone might like to hear some different but still real news. This is being reported by Natural News. A Rhode Island school district has announced a pilot program to monitor students' movements by means of radio frequency identification chips implanted into their school bags. The Middletown School District, in partnership with MAP Information Technology Corporation, has launched a pilot program to implant RFID chips into the school bags of 80 children at the Aquanex School. Each chip would be programmed with the student's identification number and will be read by an external device installed